for the PA view, but for the bony purpose, it is convention to write for examination of the patient as AP view, AP and lateral. Lateral, the rays are focused either from the right lateral or from the left lateral position, and the anterior and the posterior aspects, they are focused in the similar AP view. So this X-ray slide, which is visible over here, is AP view. It is showing on the front side this coracoid process, the head of the radius, and the acromial end of clavicle, its lateral 1/3 and the medial 1/3 extending up to the manubrium sterni, or the clavicular notch of the manubrium. And this line is highlighting the lateral border of scapula, and this one is highlighting the medial border of scapula, and this is the superior border. These are the angles. The superior angle going down is the inferior angle, and this is the lateral angle, also called the glenoid angle. As long as bony features are concerned, we apply the pins in areas where the bone is not so tough, because the outer part is the cortex, the inner one is the medulla. The cortical bone is most of the times very tough, and the pin cannot go through the cortex of the bone easily. Pin sometimes breaks up and causes some disruption of the surface of the bone. So we apply chalk in those conditions, and circular ring by the chalk is applied here at this level, and where the pin impaction is easy, we apply the pins. So coming towards the next one, which is showing the bony features by the arrows. So in case of examination, if the clavicle is having the pin applied here at this point, you will write it as the acromial end of clavicle. And here,
excuse me sir,
जी बेटा
सर अभी तक सिर्फ फर्स्ट स्लाइड शो हो रही है, आगे मूव नहीं हो रहा. अब सेकंड शो हो रही है.
अब सेकंड हो रही है ना शो?
जी सेकंड हो रही है.
तो wait for a while, there is a pause in the travel of the signals. And here at this point, on the posterior aspect of the inferior surface, there will be the conoid tubercle. You are knowing it from your knowledge of the osteology, and this area is the tip of the coracoid process, and here this level is the glenoid angle. And if the pin is applied here at this point, so you will write it as the supraglenoid tubercle, and if the pin is applied here at this level, so you will write it as infraglenoid tubercle. And coming towards the humerus, this area is the greater tuberosity, or the greater tubercle, and the anterior aspect पे lesser tubercle. Between these two क्या होता है? Intertubercular sulcus. And in case of questions about the neck of the humerus, we apply a ring with chalk in this area. So this area, if it is encircled with the chalk or with the, of any color, red, green, yellow and blue, तो कोई भी कलर लगा हो सकता है. तो if it is encircling this part of the bone, so you will write as surgical neck of the humerus, while this one, which is a construction between the head and the upper end of the humerus, that is known as the anatomical neck. This area is known as the anatomical neck. This is known as the surgical neck of the humerus. When asking you about the clinical and applied anatomy, examiner may ask, what is the clinical significance of fracture of this part of the humerus? So clinical significance क्या है बेटा? You will recall from your knowledge that this area is applied closely to the anterior and posterior circumflex humeral vessels and the axillary nerve. So the fracture of No crosstalk. No crosstalk. This area is of clinical significance with reference to damage to the auxiliary nerve and the anterior and posterior circumflex humeral vessels. They may get damaged due to fracture of this part of the surgical neck of the humerus. Moreover, the common site of fracture, which you know of the clavicle, is the junction of the middle and the lateral one-third at the junction of medial and lateral curvatures. Now, you may be asked what are the treatment for this. No surgical procedure is carried out in case of fracture of the clavicle. It is supported with a supporting sling in which the forearm and the elbow being flexed kept in a sling for a pretty long time. Now, this area is the glenoid cavity. The whole of the glenoid cavity may have been colored, or in the central part you may be asked what is this. So glenoid cavity pointed here infraglenoid tubercle, here at this level the medial border of the scapula, and this is the superior border, and this one is the coracoid process. So from the clavicle, जो medial end of clavicle की pin होगी, you will write it as the medial end of clavicle or manubrial notch of the clavicle, manubrium sternum. और जो manubrium as it is related to the thorax, इसलिए हमने इसको medial end of clavicle लिखना है या manubrial notch of the clavicle. So this slide is showing the हमारे पास हमारे डिपार्टमेंट में इस तरह का मॉडल भी पड़ा हुआ है शोल्डर का एग्जैक्टली द लिगामेंट्स आर शोन ओवर हियर the anterior and posterior glenohumeral ligaments, and this is the conoid part, and this is the trapezoid part of the coracoclavicular ligament, and this is slide, this area is shown the coracoacromial ligament. This is showing the coracoacromial ligament, this one. So we will move now to the next slide. In next slide, this is a view which has been taken from the lateral side. The lateral view of this scapula, in which the acromion is visible and its flattened facet, where the greater tubercle of the humerus moves in case of abduction of the forearm, abduction of the arm and forearm. And this is the coracoid process, and this one total glenoid cavity with supraglenoid tubercle, infraglenoid tubercle, and the lateral border of the scapula and the inferior angle. This is also showing the spine. So this is the spinoglenoid notch, and this is the spine of the scapula with its posterior border and lips of its border are visible in this slide. So pin anywhere at these points will make you eligible for the answer. It is the spine of the scapula, and this is the acromion process. This is the tip of the coracoid process. What are structures attached here? So that is the short end of biceps brachii and the coracobrachialis muscle. They are attached here at the tip of the coracoid process. So what is the significance of this part? This is oval articulating cavity known as the glenoid cavity, forming the glenohumeral or the shoulder joint. And when we move further in this slide, so this area with the lines is showing, as I've just told you, this is the spine and the border of the scapula, the coracoid process, and the acromion, which I have just mentioned, and this is the humeral head or head of the humerus in the glenoid cavity. And next we will move to the other slides then. Please make a pause for a while. That's all. स्टॉप शेयरिंग आ रही है, नेक्स्ट प्लीज राइट लीजिए। दोस्तों मेरा कॉल करूँगा 2 मिनट। Next slide. Okay. The features of this part of the slide in the bone, they have been discussed, and in this area in the middle of the shaft is shown over here. As we know, there is a this is showing the fracture of the mid shaft of the humerus, but this area is very much important with reference to the point that it is having the spiral groove or the radial groove, which transmits the radial nerve and the profunda brachii vessels. These are also the contents of the inferior lower triangular space, inferior or the lower triangular space. If the area is marked, the spiral groove running obliquely from above downwards and laterally, if it is marked with a chalk and you are asked to highlight this one, so this is spiral groove, mention the structures lodged here, so that is radial nerve and the profunda brachii vessels. ये इसकी significance है. Just below this area is the point where the supracondylar ridges are there, the lateral and the medial supracondylar ridges, they are there, and here at this point there is sometimes fracture of the bone, which is known as the supracondylar fracture of the humerus, and various complications resulting out of this fracture, which you know from your level of the knowledge. It may lead to compression of the brachial artery, causing Boxman's ischemic necrosis, or may damage the median nerve, which is lying in close proximity to this area. And next, these are the medial and the lateral epicondyles and the bones which are articulating at the level of the humerus and at the level of the elbow joint to form the elbow joint, which means humeroradial, humeroulnar joint.
एक्सक्यूज मी सर, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही, बफरिंग हो रही है बहुत ज्यादा.
I think students are creating a disturbance.
सर इधर से क्लियर है, स्टूडेंट के लेवल पे कोई प्रॉब्लम होगी और ना आपकी आवाज बिल्कुल क्लियर है.
ठीक, थैंक यू. So next we proceed towards the other part of this radiology class. So this is showing the elbow joint and the lower end of the humerus forming joint with the radius and the ulna. This is the olecranon fossa. This is the medial epicondyle, and this one is the lateral epicondyle. This is the articular disc space, और इसको articular space भी कह सकते हैं, joint space, or this is in life occupied by the cartilaginous articular disc, which keeps the smooth running of the joint for the lifelong time of the person. This area is the olecranon fossa, and this is the olecranon process of the ulna fitting into the olecranon fossa. So this area is the medial epicondyle, which we are aware of, as you know from your knowledge of the osteology and your precision substage schedule and the syllabus. This is the common flexor origin. Pin at this level is applied, you will write medial epicondyle / common flexor origin. If the pin is here at this level, in the examination process, you will write it as the lateral epicondyle or the common extensor origin. क्लिनिकल सिग्निफिकेंस इस पॉइंट की क्या है कि समटाइम्स ड्यू टू द abduction, forceful abduction or a movement in case of various games like the tennis, the return of the high upshot by a player may lead to excessive strain on this point and this leads to partial avulsion of the common extensor tendon. This condition is known as either severe painful condition arises over here with the mild swelling. This is known as lateral epicondylitis or the tennis elbow. As long as the significance of medial epicondyle is concerned, other than the common flexor origin, it is closely related to the ulnar nerve which is passing behind the medial epicondyle. And in case of fracture of this part, the ulnar nerve may undergo injury, leading to catastrophic results in the function of the hand and the fine movements of the hand. This is the superior radioulnar joint. This in general is known as the triple articulation, means humeroradial, humeroulnar, and superior radioulnar joint. This is known as the triple articulation in general. And this is the disc-shaped head of the radius. This narrow part is the neck of the radius. A chalk may be encircling this part, and this is the radial tuberosity. Radial tuberosity, and the two borders of the bones which are opposing each other, between them they are the interosseous borders. They are the interosseous borders. A line may be drawn over here, or pen may be applied at this part, and this will guide you to write in the answer sheet as the interosseous border of either the radius or the ulna, and you can highlight it or identify by the sharp borders, which are, in case of radius, it is having a concavity towards the medial side. Now coming next towards the other slide. This is the anterior aspect shown here at this point. This is the lateral supracondylar ridge, the medial supracondylar ridge, the medial epicondyle, lateral epicondyle, head of the radius, and this is the olecranon process, and this is the coronoid process of the ulna. And this is quite a prominent place. Here is shown the lateral epicondyle, the olecranon fossa, the medial epicondyle, and this is the trochlea, which is hanging 6 millimeters down as compared with the capitulum, and hence is an important factor in formation of the carrying angle. This area is of the joint space, so this is the head of the radius, this area is of the neck, and this is the radial tuberosity, and this one is the shaft of the ulna. So these are different points which are asked in case of radiological examinations. And now this one is the lateral view of the elbow joint. Here the radius is shown superimposed on upper part of the radius, head of the radius is shown superimposed on the shadow of the ulna, and this is the joint space and the olecranon notch of the ulna, and this area is the olecranon fossa, and this one is the trochlear notch of the ulna, and this one is the head of the radius, and it is overshadowed or superimposed on the coronoid process of ulna. And this narrow part is clearly visible over here as the neck of the radius if it is encircled with the chalk, and this is the radial tuberosity. And moving next. it is made quite prominent and quite visible here with the arrows and the signs over here, and the olecranon process, olecranon fossa, and this one is the whole of it is the trochlear notch, and this is the coronoid process. As I mentioned, the radial head, this one, and this is the neck area and the radial tuberosity, and this is shaft of the humerus. Shaft of the humerus quite visible, and a point may have been applied either in the form of pin here at these points, here or here at this point, or the neck may be encircled like this, and the borders of the ulna or radius, if they are marked, the borders are marked most of the time with the chalk, because the mere pin does not indicate that whole of the border is under consideration, or only particular part of the shaft is being asked or questioned. Now we move next towards the hand. In case of hand, the same, the radius and ulna, which are moving, and these are their interosseous border of the radius, the interosseous border of the ulna, and this is the radiocarpal joint, in which inferior surface of the radius is articulating with the scaphoid bone and scaphoid and the lunate, and the disc of the inferior radiolar joint is here at this level. In case of examination in the spotting slides in OSPE, either a pin is applied here at this point, which you will write as the styloid process of ulna, and in case of radius, the head is towards the elbow, while in case of ulna, the head is towards the wrist joint. The pin here at this point, which you will write as the styloid process of ulna, while pin here at this point, you will write as the styloid process of the radius. And just above the lower end of the radius, this area is meant for two important things. One is the Colles fracture and other is the Smith fracture. The area is same, but there is difference in the displacement of the distal end of the fractured bone. In case of Smith, the displacement is anterior. In case of Colles, the displacement is posterior. Now coming towards the carpal bones, the scaphoid, lunate, triquetrum, and the smaller one overshadow, the shadow is superimposed, the pisiform, like of the size of a bean, मटर के दाने जैसी, and in the second row, the trapezium, trapezoid, capitate, and the hamate. The X-ray is having an arrow in like this, which is pointing towards this part. So you will write it as the capitate bone. If the arrow is pointing here at this level, so you will write it as the scaphoid bone. And arrow here at this bone, this part, you will write it as the lunate only, or this one you will write it as the triquetrum. If the shadow is lateral view is shown, then the pisiform will be commented. Otherwise, this area is giving having the shadow of the triquetrum. In case of the distal row, trapezium, trapezoid, capitate, and hamate sequence-wise. Now coming towards the metacarpals, in case of an arrow on any of the metacarpals, for example, like this one, this is the fifth metacarpal, and this one is the metacarpal of the ring finger of the fourth, the third metacarpal of the middle finger, and the second metacarpal of the index finger, and this is the first metacarpal of the thumb, first metacarpal of the hand, and the metacarpal of the thumb. And this one is if this area is encircled. If this area is encircled with the chalk, so you will write it as the first carpo-metacarpal joint. And this smaller bean-like shadow is of the sesamoid bone, which is in the tendon of flexor pollicis longus in the first at the metacarpophalangeal joint. This is the MP joint of the thumb. As there are two phalanges in case of thumb, so there is a metacarpophalangeal and the interphalangeal joint only in case of thumb. While in case of rest of the fingers, as there are three phalanges, so there is a one after the metacarpophalangeal joint, there is a proximal interphalangeal joint and then the distal interphalangeal joint. So here at this level, this one is the metacarpophalangeal joint and this one is the proximal interphalangeal and this is the distal interphalangeal joint. Here this is distal interphalangeal joint, the proximal interphalangeal joint and the metacarpophalangeal joint. And this area is also called as the midcarpal joint, like this one is the midcarpal joint. And coming towards the other bones, the other part, okay, I'm bringing back, this is the anteroposterior view. And before this was the also the anteroposterior view, which is focused from the front. The radial styloid process, they are shown on the lateral aspect and various areas are marked as either with arrows or with the circles. So this circle around वो इतना extensive नहीं होता, हमने around the bone with the chalk लगाया होता है. So this is mid shaft area of the third metacarpal. So ये metacarpophalangeal joint of the middle finger or the third metacarpal. These are interphalangeal joints and these are the terminal phalanges. Here it is this area in which the pulse space abscess leads to increase in the intracompartmental pressure and the blockade of the venous return leads to progressively building intracompartmental pressure, and a point comes where the compartmental pressure exceeds the level of the arterial pressure. Hence, the arterial supply stops down and the part undergoes necrosis, which is known as Whitlow. The necrosis of the terminal part of the terminal phalanx is known, or distal part of the terminal phalanx is known as the Whitlow, and this area, this common condition is known as the pulse space abscess. So, for the purpose of knowing the difference between the adult and the child, this slide has been taken over here. As we are aware of, before the closure of epiphysis, the ossification is going on in various parts. So first ossification starts in the primary centers before birth, and then the ossification starts in secondary centers which appear after birth, with one exception of the secondary center of ossification which is appearing before birth. That is ossification center for lower end of the femur that appears just before birth. All other secondary centers of ossification, they appear after birth. So here the diaphysis of the shaft of the bone, diaphysis or shaft of the bone, and the ends of the bones, they are united. The process of ossification has completed and the metaphyseal plate that has been replaced by the mature bone. While here in this part, the ossification is going on in the shaft and the other secondary centers, but the ends have not joined through exclusion of the maturation of the metaphyseal plates. So this is the adult hand, this is the immature hand, which is hand of the person who has not reached maturity and whose ossification has not yet been completed, which is 16 to 18 years in the females and 18 to 20 years in the males. So that's all about this. Any question which you want to ask related to the related to the radiology? Radiology is basically highlighting various parts of the bones, which is study of the bone, which is osteology. Okay, any question, beta?
सर वो फीवर वाला पॉइंट दोबारा एक्सप्लेन कर दीजिएगा।
कौन सा बेटा?
सर लोअर एंड जो फीमर होता है उसमें बिफोर बर्थ ऑसिफिकेशन सेंटर अपीयर होता है।
आपको मैं डिफरेंस ऑफ द अडल्ट एंड यंग बोन बताते हुए बता रहा था कि ऑल प्राइमरी सेंटर्स अपीयर बिफोर बर्थ एंड ऑल सेकेंडरी सेंटर्स अपीयर आफ्टर बर्थ, सेंटर्स ऑफ ossification. एक एक्सेप्शन है इसमें, that exception is for the ossification of the lower end of the femur that appears in the 9th month of intrauterine life. मतलब first secondary center to appear in the body just before birth is the second ossification center for the lower end of the femur. That only secondary which appears before birth. इसकी clinical significance है जब आप forensic medicine and toxicology third year में पढ़ेंगे, and age assessment of the fetus and the newborn, that is related to this appearance of the secondary center of ossification in the lower end of the femur. Anything more? Any question further? Okay, that's all. We have completed our topic of radiology and its various points which will be applied in the process of final stage examination or in the first professional MBBS examination of the UHS. Full one table is fixed for the radiology and which carries 2 marks. That there is 2 marks in the university professional examination, and similarly more than that for the table 4 marks are allocated for the table in the final stage and house examination of the region. Okay, Allah Hafiz. If any question is not there, Allah Hafiz.